Welcome, everyone, to a bonus edition of Every Library Live, our celebration of Audiobook Week 2025, our festival of authors, narrators, producers, and publishers who are shaping the future of storytelling through sound. My name is Becky Spratford. I am a librarian and the author of the forthcoming Why I Love Horror. But today we're going to talk to our panel, which is called Suspense by Design, Writing and Voicing the Modern Thriller. We're honored to welcome two standout talents in the world of thrillers. #1 New York Times bestselling author Lisa Gardner and award-winning narrator Hillary Huber. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everybody.
I'm going to do a little introduction so people know who you are. Lisa Gardner is an internationally acclaimed author whose gripping thrillers have been published in over 30 countries. Her books include The Neighbor, The Other Daughter, and The Perfect Husband. And they have not only become international bestsellers, they've won numerous awards and been adapted for television and are very popular at my library. In her Frankie Elkin series, including the newest title, which is coming out soon, Kiss Her Goodbye, which you can see in the background, Lisa brings high-stakes mystery and powerful emotion together with unmatched precision and heart. She lives in New Hampshire with her dogs and invites readers to participate in her legendary Kill a Friend, Maim a Body sweepstakes. I've had patrons join that at lisagardner.com. We also have Hillary Huber, who has narrated over 800 audiobooks across genres and is known for her exceptional performances in thrillers. She's a multiple Audie finalist, Earphones Award winner, Voice Arts Awards recipient, and was named one of AudioFile magazine's best voices, which is a resource we use at the library a lot. With her signature blend of suspense, pacing, and vocal nuance, she brings stories to life in a way that keeps listeners hooked from start to finish. When she's not in the booth, Hillary enjoys hip-hop dancing, baking sourdough, and avoiding liver. Together, they've created the audio edition of Kiss Her Goodbye, a story that takes, and I actually don't have the summary because John cut this out because John made a mistake. Okay. I still created the audio edition of Kiss Her Goodbye, which has another unforgettable story with Frankie Elkin. Let's explore how thrillers are made for the ear and how suspense is engineered word by word, line by line, and breath by breath. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Becky.
You're welcome. I'm going to start with Lisa. Your Frankie Elkin series, Kiss Her Goodbye, the newest one, has carved a unique place in the mystery thriller world. It balances geopolitical backdrops with intimate personal interactions. How do you maintain the tension across plot layers, and what role does character play in that balance for you?
This is fun. It's always fascinating because as a novelist, you never think of your book in any terms because I don't even know what the book is till I'm done. Like I'm not someone who even plots. So to hear it's like geopolitical, it's like, kind of is. Yeah. Okay. Now that you mention it, that does work. So
wait, you don't plot ahead of time at all? Are you a pantser? Yeah, you're a pantser.
Yeah. Which is actually very stressful, and it's true. It's very messy. I don't recommend it. You will do a lot more revision work and possibly take a lot more medication if that's your approach. but that is how I do it. So.
Well, then how do you maintain that tension across all those plot layers and have that great character?
So I'm character driven. That's always what I start with. And the Frankie Elkin series always starts with Frankie, who's a fairly new character for me. A lot of my stuff is ripped from the headlines. Frankie represents, we have a trend going on in the real world of people getting involved, like you and me, everyday people, with solving cold cases, partly because we have the internet, we have so much more information now. In cold cases, historically, there was a, forensic smoking gun or, something from the crime scene that was going to solve the puzzle, it would have. So you're back to the old gumshoe detective work. And I've loved that with Frankie, who's just an everyday person. But this is what she does. She goes from town to town, working cold cases, missing persons. So I know Frankie is going to kind of make it up as she goes along, which possibly I think we've established fits my writing process.
I love it. It's like you're embodying her a little bit.
Yeah. Well, a lot of days it comes down to that. It's like, okay, if all you had at your disposal was your own feet, like you can go door to door to ask questions or the computer to search for things, and she's not a hacker. She can only do what we can do. What question would you ask next? What would you do next to try to find someone? Which is is very humbling. It's like, oh my God, I don't know, but I have to know. I don't know, but I have to know. So again, you'll take a lot more medication if you're a pantser. It's totally true. So,
But
in
you're
the case,
yeah.
go ahead. Sorry.
I say you're definitely living on the edge, though, which Frankie's doing as well, too. So I think that's why that tension, we were talking about the tension, really is there.
I always think of it in terms of upping the stakes. So in the case of Kiss Her Goodbye, Frankie's looking for missing Afghan refugee, which again is something I pulled from the headlines. And the things I always think about when I'm writing a book, the missing person, you have to be vested in them. You have to want them to be found. It can't be an academic exercise. So in this case, we have a young refugee. She has a 4-year-old daughter. We know from the very beginning, she came from prominence in Kabul and had a very liberal family, has this gift for languages, was involved in some things we don't completely know what they might have been. But now they've been 3 months in the US and it's not going well for them. There's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of secrets in this family, and there's a lot of fear. But fear of what? And then the rest of the writing process for me becomes about trying to answer that question. And it is very much keeping you caring about the characters and then upping what's at stake chapter by chapter to create that tension.
It's very interesting to hear you talk about this because I've suggested your books for years to library patrons, and you're one of those ones that they love. And I think you hit the heart of it. It's that caring and that emotion that keeps readers going, which leads me into talking to Hillary about the performance, because when you first read a Lisa Gardner book or any thriller, but let's talk about Lisa's books, what is your approach to understanding those emotional undercurrents, and how do you decide what kind of voice choices are right for the characters?
It's a really esoteric sort of unveiling, I guess, along the same way Lisa is developing the story and the characters as she writes. I'm learning them as I read. And I'll highlight certain lines that inform who that character is. I'm always trying to play the personality of the character rather than just putting on some veil of a voice. It needs to come from who they are. You can differentiate between two characters who sound the same by just playing different attitudes. So,
I love that.
Yeah. So I never want it to be, like I said, an overlay. I need it to be intrinsic. And so reading that first read through is so imperative because the character develops for me. And it's funny, what I will often do in a series is, I always take a snippet of the character speaking at the beginning of the book when I'm recording. When they first speak, I'll take a little snippet of it so I can refer back to it throughout the book so I can hear that I've matched it. But with recurring characters, I'll do it again at the end because they're probably going to change a little bit.
Oh, smart.
That is so fascinating.
That's maybe something I shouldn't admit. They should be, and they are for the most part consistent all the way through. But by the end of those 350 pages, they've settled in me in a way that they can't have in the beginning. So I'll take that last snippet. So when I do the next book, that's where I'm going from.
And that's interesting because when we're talking about a series, you're absolutely right. They're not going to be the same person.
Yeah. I mean, Frankie at this point she's entrenched. So it's not her, but you never know. As long as they're not killed off, one of Lisa's characters may pop up again. So
I mean, especially if she's just feeling like it that day, apparently.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
Here's a question though. How many times do you read the whole book before you start doing the reading? So you do it once, make those notes, and then.
Yeah, once is plenty. Maybe this is justification, but I don't want to be rehearsed, and I don't want to sit in the story like I know it. Even though I do basically know it, there's something about being a little bit on the edge of your seat.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to ask next, because thrillers require that pacing and atmosphere, and especially Lisa's, because she had that whole not knowing where it was going when she was writing it, and that's in the book, like you feel it. I think that's why readers love them. So how do you build that pacing, atmosphere, suspense with just your voice. I mean, you have her words, but
Timing.
yeah.
It's really timing and
Right.
speed and energy levels. But it comes back to not being over rehearsed. If there's a little bit of curiosity happening, if I sound like I've told this story 10 times,
Yeah.
that's boring. But if I sound like I'm not sure where we're going and there's a surprise, then I think it draws the listener in a little bit and hopefully makes them engaged and excited to find out what the reveal is also.
Personally,
That
that's
makes
why
total sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to be rote, but you want to be prepared. Like, where's that line?
That's right. So it's really, understanding literature is so important to this job. Understanding who the red herring is. We can shine a spotlight on that red herring, right? And conversely, we can take the bad guy and make him so unassuming, right?
I
He could never
love
be the bad
this.
guy.
I love this because for me personally, mysteries and thrillers are my favorite things in audiobooks. And now you're telling me why. Because if I'm reading on the page sometimes, if I'm not in the right mood or I'm feeling like I might miss something, but if the audiobook narrator is leading me through, that's why I'm loving it. So thank you for your work. But can I ask you specifically about Lisa's writing style? Are there techniques you specifically rely on to match her writing style that you might not use with others?
Lisa gave me such a gift with Frankie Elkin. I mean, she is, she's, her personality is a lot like mine. She's sarcastic. She's strong. She's take no prisoners, no BS. And so it's kind of like cheating. I don't have to work hard to find Frankie. She's my favorite. Favorite of all the characters I do.
Probably that's a big thing because you've done over 800 books. So.
I know, and she really is. But I guess because I identify her on a certain level, certainly not the finding missing people, but I like her sense of retribution and doing the right thing and standing up for the little guy. So no, Lisa's made that easy for me, except for maybe what she didn't make so easy for me this time. Is Sabra.
Wait, wait.
A lot of Afghan characters.
Yes.
Who grew up in Afghanistan, but was raised by a British mother, so has a crisp British accent, but with maybe a flavor of an Afghanistan. So that was a little bit of a.
I tortured Hillary with this book. I gave her a heads up. I'm like, the next book, just so you know, for Frankie, you're going to learn all sorts of Dari and Afghan names. I could tell she was super excited.
Yeah. That leads to my next question, because I wanted to ask you, Lisa, how much collaboration do you two have? Since you know that you work together, since you have this rapport and you've worked on different books, do you give any guidance on character voices or tone, or does Hillary have any freedom for input? How do you work together? So the names are a great thing. You gave her a heads up. That's a great example. But what is your collaborative process like?
I would argue I let Hillary do all the heavy lifting. I just warn her it's going to be a lot really difficult to pronounce words in this one. But now that I know she can make the bad guy, less obvious and emphasize the red herring, I'm like, I can work way less. I can relax now, right?
No, what have I done?
So I'm getting a lot out of this exchange right now. I mean, I'm enjoying our collaboration more and more all the time. I'm not going to lie.
Hillary, do you feel like Lisa's it sounds like she's very welcoming to the interpretation you've given?
Definitely. She's so accessible, and I'm so grateful for that. So even in the middle of recording, if I've come across a word that I missed in my prep, I can just text her and
that's great.
She'll help me out with it, or anything I need to run by her.
I feel super lucky to have Hillary, because it's Hillary's voice that's making this come alive. So anything I can do to help. I mean, probably the most useful I've been to Hillary, who really is the pro at this, is for this book, because of all the pronunciations. You weren't loving what you were hearing online at the various websites, Hillary. No. So I actually went back to my expert who would help me. And he very graciously, over the course of a weekend, recorded all the names, which was fascinating for both Hillary and me, because I'm like, oh my God, I haven't
It
even
was so
pronounced my own
long from what
characters'
I
names.
found.
We
Yeah.
were way out from many
Yes.
of them. It was like, oh
Sabera
dear.
is what I found, and it's Sabra, right? Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that was really helpful.
What I love about this conversation is how much both the audio and the written work together so much. You know, we're celebrating audiobooks with this event that every library's been doing, and they really are both, they work together, even though, you know, sometimes people see them as opposites. So Lisa, the first couple times you've heard, especially the first couple times you heard Hillary perform this series in audio, did it change how you thought about your writing? I know you made a joke now that you're gonna, you know, not have to worry about the red herring and everything, but do you ever write with that audio experience in mind now?
Biggest thing that helped me was Hillary did an amazing panel for the international thriller writers. Her and some other of the narrators talking to us as writers what we should be aware of. And some of it was that whole notion of attitude and also colloquialism. Like, you don't want all your characters to have the same speech patterns. You know, the more we give them their own flavor, the easier it is for Hillary to differentiate. And I think about that all the time. They also mentioned, Hillary mentioned, you might want to think about names you give people, which did make me, when I started writing Kiss Her Goodbye and realized the names were going to need to be Afghan names, like, oh, yeah, this is exactly what Hillary told me not to do. This will be fun.
So that's fascinating. You're right, because as a writer, it probably behooves you to make the dialogue on the page distinct for each
Yeah.
one. But
Well,
Hillary,
also make it
Yeah.
the way people talk.
Yeah.
Yes.
So my biggest advice to authors is to read at least your dialogue out loud, because we have to read it as it is written. So if you say, do not go into that room, I have to say, do not go into that room. I can't say, don't go into that room.
Got it.
You know, and that's just, people don't
People don't.
speak with the kind of formality that a lot of authors will write in. So you're doing all of us a service by really paying attention to your dialogue.
That's awesome. And that's awesome. I'm so glad that you and the other narrators are sharing that advice with the authors, because I think that it's going to make, especially in things like thrillers, the books better both on the page and in the audio experience.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, if you read stilted dialogue on the page, it feels just that. It feels stilted.
And especially because our readers these days, but when I started in libraries back at the turn of the century, it was either you were audio or you were print, right? But our readers go back and forth now,
Yeah,
especially the library users, which with these big like authors like Lisa Gardner, who have books that come out all the time, we get a lot of library users because they just can't afford to keep buying all the books, but they love them, right? So when they'll get it however they get it first. So it's great to have that seamless experience. I also, when just heads up, when there's a series and the narrator changes, people get mad. So
oh yeah,
I actually switched publishers with this book, but I told them we needed Hillary, and the publisher, I mean, Hillary's top of the class. I mean, they're like, yeah, great. We can you get us Hillary? It's like,
I've got a direct line. Text Hillary.
that's great. And this one, you know, because the other ones, I'm trying to think. I think I recorded those on my own, and this one I asked. You know, I have my own studio. I asked to go into studio because of all the Afghani and the accents. I wanted a little hand holding. I needed another set of ears on this. And so I had an engineer and I had the producer decided to stay. She thought she was only going to sit in for the first day. She said, I've got a lot of work to do. I'm going to be here in the beginning. We're going to get everything set. And then I'm probably going to not be here for the rest of the week. She stayed the whole week. She stayed the whole week. She was the three of us were so involved in this production. And even the engineer, they're often just like, you know, pushing a button. He had comments. It was such a great collaboration, and I felt so supported. And I feel like it's one of the best products I've ever put out there. Like product, that sounds so stupid.
Oh no, but that's saying a lot because you have all the awards. So that's saying a
So
lot.
it was a really great experience with
This does really matter. So my kid who's 22 does a lot of book clubs, and particularly they read like a broader genre of books where you have many more exotic names, we have many more multicultural books. And Grace was talking about in book club, they will often turn to the audio listeners and say, do you know how to say the name? Because you're reading it, you may not ever totally wrap your brain around it. But so it's like the audio listeners who experience the book, they provide the proper way of saying the character's
well, we hope
name
so. If we've done we've done our research,
conversation.
right? We've all been busted on.
Yeah. But again, to the extent
pronunciation.
that people are getting the stories through different mediums, but it's all about the story, it's great that you can make this all work.
I mean, I like to say that my favorite bar fight is audiobooks are cheating. I will take you down.
Hill, I will die on.
Yeah.
I have actually published many things about that.
Yeah.
I have a quote I use in my training for librarians from Kathy Koja, who's an author and a performance artist. And she says, the story is, what is said, how you get it doesn't matter. It's fancier, right? Like, but the fact is, yes, when I do book clubs and I train book club leaders, I always want at least one person to have listened to the story in my book club. Because they sometimes find things that someone missed. The pronunciations, the experience, it adds to the conversation. Which leads me to talking about the format in general. So I love that you said, Lisa, that Hillary was part of a panel at the International Thriller Writers Association. So thriller specifically seem tailor-made for audio because cliffhangers and tension and a lot of dialogue, so voice-driven storytelling. What do you think makes the genre thrive in this format? And what can audio do that the page can't? And I want Lisa to answer first as the writer.
Oh, well, I think really a lot of the explosion right now for digital listening in general comes from the true crime podcasts. I don't know what it is, but we definitely like to listen to murder. I mean, maybe more so. And I think also because it is gripping. And I know certainly so many of my friends who are the audio listeners and they do the podcasts, they're listening while they're doing something else. I mean, maybe they're walking, maybe they're gardening, maybe they're waiting at their kid to get done with a sporting event. But because of the gripping nature, if you're right, that kind of cliffhanger format, it really does keep you engaged and keeps you from wandering. And also it's a little more episodic too. So if you need to break here because now you have to do something and you're excited to get back to it. So I think the format for thrillers really works. And I really do think it's the true crime podcasts that help explode and reinvigorate, the whole audio experience.
I love how you said that it doesn't let you wander but you also talked about while you're wandering, while you're walking.
Yeah.
That was an unintentional pun. What about you, Hillary? Why do you, because you do lots of genres, so why do you think it just is a thriving place for audio thriller?
I think because of how through pacing we can create tension. So when you're reading a book, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a fast reader. Especially now I'm a fast reader because I read like essentially 2 books a week. So so you can fly through the scary parts, the tension parts. But if we really think about what film does, I use this analogy a lot. What filmmakers do in order to create tension is they will often use slow-mo. So when the baby carriage is coming down the stairs, in Grand Central Station, and there's a gunfight going off, if that happened in real time, it would be over too fast. But by drawing it out, that's where the tension comes from. So we are like, no. So we get to do that same thing in audiobooks when I coach, and I'll get a student reading a chase scene, and they're imitating the speed of the action on the page. And I'll say, wait a minute, it was over too fast. I don't know where the car, when did it go over the curb? Did it hit the baby? Did it, right? So I'll tend to play against the action on the page.
Love that.
I love that.
Yeah, so that it draws it out because that's where we get tension.
And this leads me to our final question I want to ask both of you. And I'm going to start with Lisa. What advice would you offer aspiring authors who want to succeed in the thriller world?
Well, I think we've already hit on one of the big ones. Both Hillary and I mentioned it, is join an organization. I mean, the International Thriller Writers alone, and I am on the board, so I'll confess that up front. Join my club.
Lisa, I'm on the board for the Horror Writers Association.
Oh, there we go. So see,
yes.
It's great for one, just the camaraderie of having other people, who have voices in their head, possibly telling them to kill. Always good to hang out.
Get it out on the page, then you don't go to jail. It works.
Yeah. But we also do a lot. We have a professional online class to help you learn the business skills. We have online writing classes. We have a major conference. We have the opportunities to attend for free panels with award-winning narrators to understand how the audio process goes. I mean, we all create alone, but to truly succeed in publishing, you're going to need a network and friends and understanding and a background. And that's what the writing organization can give to you.
I love that advice. And Hillary, what about advice for aspiring audiobook narrators, especially in thrillers? You talked about the coaching. I loved that. That you do that.
Oh yeah, it's good. First of all, let me just back up what Lisa said. Having been to Thriller Fest, it is so fun to see all these authors that I've either worked for or I stalk, and to watch them all see each other in the hall. It's such a like a sorority fraternity of authors. Everybody's supporting each other and helping each other out. And it's really encouraging to see that. They're all friends. And I love that. And I would say the audiobook community is very similar. We have several organizations, PANA, Audio Publishers Association, that do the same thing, have mixers and awards and conferences, so we can all get together and support one another, because much like writing, narrating is a very solitary job. We sit in a little 4x4 booth by ourselves most of the time, a cell, I like to call it. And, unless we get a director, which doesn't happen that often. And then fundamentally is understand literature and bone up on your acting chops, because you're every character in the play. So
it's like a dream for theater kids.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'm everybody.
And a nightmare. Thank you so much both for joining us for Every Library Live. This was a really fun and fascinating look behind the scenes, not just a great book and a great series. It really was, but of the collaboration. I learned so much as a listener, and a reader. So thank you.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Oh, it was great. Your insights into building suspense, delivering story with heart, and with the skill are exactly what makes audiobooks so great. So I want to thank everybody for watching, and be sure to tune into Every Library Live for more amazing panels with authors, narrators, and producers shaping the future of storytelling in audio. This was a bonus episode, but you can go back and watch all of them on YouTube and Facebook Live. So please go on demand and watch them. And thank you for being here, and please keep listening.
So much fun. Thank you.
Thank you.